The Real Dracula, Unveiling the Bloody Life of Vlad the Impaler. Join us on a thrilling journey into the life of Vlad III, commonly known as Vlad the Impaler, or simply Dracula. This exploration seeks to demystify the figure who walked the fine line between heroism and monstrosity. Settle in as we unravel the events that sculpted his legacy and the transition from historical ruler to legendary vampire. Our story begins in the rugged terrain of Wallachia, a principality nestled in the heart of what is now modern Romania. During the early 15th century, this region was embroiled in strife, a battleground for both internal power struggles and the looming threat of the Ottoman Empire. Wallachia's strategic position meant it was crucial in the defense against the expanding Ottoman forces, and this environment of constant threat and political tension was the crucible in which Vlad the Impaler was formed. Born into a noble family in 1431, Vlad III was the second son of Vlad Dracula, the ruler of Wallachia at the time. His birthright came with both prestige and peril, entwining his fate with the dynastic politics of the region. The name Dracula itself means the dragon, a nod to his father's membership in the Order of the Dragon, a Christian military order pledged to fight the Ottoman Turks. Vlad's early life took a dramatic and dangerous turn in 1442 when he, along with his younger brother Radu, was taken hostage by the Ottoman Sultan Murad II. This was a common practice aimed at ensuring their father's continued loyalty amidst the shifting allegiances of the region. During this time, young Vlad was exposed to the intricate machinations of the Ottoman court, evolving his understanding of realpolitik that would later define his reign. After years as a hostage, Vlad returned to Wallachia in 1448, a time when Wallachia was plunged into chaos following his father's assassination and brother Mircea's blinding by local boyars, the regional nobility. Vlad's first reign was brief, but it marked the beginning of his relentless quest to reclaim his birthright and avenge the indignities suffered by his family. Vlad's ascent to power was neither swift nor straightforward, marred by betrayal and alliances forged out of necessity. It wasn't until 1456, supported by Hungarian forces, that he managed to re-establish himself as the rightful ruler of Wallachia. His subsequent rule was marked by a fierce determination to consolidate power and bring order to a fragmented realm, often by any means necessary. Once enthroned, Vlad wasted no time in asserting his dominance over Wallachia. He embarked on a campaign to centralize his authority, subduing the influential boyars who posed a threat to his rule. To achieve this, Vlad employed tactics that were as shrewd as they were ruthless, understanding that sheer brutality could be wielded as an instrument of political power. It was during this period that Vlad earned his infamous moniker, the Impaler, for his preferred method of punishing dissenters. Impalement, a form of execution that involved mounting a person on a sharp stake, was used to instill fear both domestically and among external enemies. This gruesome form of punishment left a harrowing impact on all who dared oppose him. Central to Vlad's rule was the defense of Wallachia from the encroaching Ottoman threat. His reign saw multiple incursions by Sultan Mehmed II's forces, yet Vlad managed to defend his territory through guerrilla tactics and cunning strategies. Tales of his nighttime raids and strategic retreats paint a picture of a formidable tactician committed to protecting his homeland at all costs. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of Vlad's reign was the Forest of the Impaled, a grim testament to his rule. As Ottoman forces advanced into Wallachia, they were met with the grotesque sight of thousands of impaled bodies lining the entrance to Târgoviște, the Wallachian capital. This terrifying display not only served as a psychological deterrent to his enemies, but also cemented his fearsome reputation throughout Europe. Vlad's legacy is one of stark contrasts, viewed as a national hero and a cruel tyrant, depending on which lens history peers through. To his supporters, he was a stalwart defender against Ottoman expansion, a lineage protector and a symbol of Romanian resilience. To others, his brutality overshadowed his nobler causes, painting him as an archetype of bloodlust and tyranny. The historical figure of Vlad the Impaler began to metamorphose into the legendary vampire known as Dracula. This shift was facilitated by centuries of oral tradition and folk tales that immortalized his ruthless methods and enigmatic persona, blending historical facts with imaginative fiction. The Dracula we know today, largely characterized by Bram Stoker in the 1897 novel, is an amalgamation of these stories. While Stoker never visited Romania, and there's no documentation that he intentionally modeled Dracula on Vlad, the parallels are undeniable. Stoker's Count Dracula embodies the terror and fascination inspired by Vlad's historical deeds. The legend of Dracula extends beyond the bounds of mere historical narrative, exploring themes of immortality, power, and the primal fear of the unknown. This myth, born out of Vlad's notoriety, conveys deeper cultural anxieties and societal perceptions of power and otherness. Drawing the line between historical fact and mythcraft can be challenging. Chroniclers from the era, many of whom were biased, contributed to the vilification and mythologizing of Vlad's deeds. This makes it essential to assess these sources critically and with contextual understanding, distinguishing verified events from the mythical expansions they inspired. Vlad's reign exemplifies the complexities of wielding absolute power and the moral ambiguities that accompany it. While his actions were extreme, they were also calculated, reflective of a ruler deeply embedded in the Machiavellian philosophies of statecraft prevalent during his time. Regardless of how history judges him, Vlad remains a potent symbol in the tapestry of Eastern European history. His impact is evident not only in his defense against the Ottoman pressures but also in his lingering presence within Western narratives like Stoker's Dracula, which continue to capture public imagination. Today, Vlad's story, intertwined with the Dracula myth, finds place in countless adaptations across various media. His legend has been reframed many times over, appearing in films, literature, and popular culture, each iteration exploring different aspects of his character and myth. In our video portrayal, we utilize dramatic visuals to bring these stories to life, crafting scenes that highlight the stark dualities of Vlad's character. Dark tones and evocative imagery accentuate the narrative's somber and mysterious elements, creating an immersive historical experience. The use of color and tone is deliberate. Dark hues convey the seriousness and gravity of the subject matter, while lighting contrasts emphasize the dual nature of his story, balancing heroism with the macabre. Our narrative follows a chronological trajectory, marking pivotal events from Vlad's early life to his death in 1476. These events frame his relentless fight for authority and the contentious methods he employed to maintain Wallachian independence. Vlad's complex interactions with the Wallachian nobility reflect his pursuit to consolidate power. He sought alliances where possible but did not hesitate to purge opponents who threatened his authority, leveraging loyalty through fear more than kinship. Strategically, Vlad's reign was also marked by astute diplomatic efforts. His policies were guided by political pragmatism, balancing alliances with the likes of Hungary while negotiating his position amid greater empire's interests. Vlad saw himself as a protector of the Christian faith against Ottoman encroachment. His religious convictions inspired both his allies' regard and his enemies' dread, portraying him as a warrior defending Christendom's frontier. The perception of Vlad varied greatly. Contemporary sources depict him as both savior and oppressor, underscoring the dichotomy in his character often reflected in historical recounts where cultural bias plays a role. The chronicles and historical records of Vlad's time serve as vital resources, though they are not devoid of exaggeration. Unpacking these documents offers insights into the realities and myths that have defined his figure. In retelling Vlad's story, there is an ethical onus to balance dramatization with accuracy. Historical narratives carry the weight of identity and memory, and media must recount them responsibly, staying true to verified histories while acknowledging their renowned legends. The fascination with Vlad's story extends globally, with different cultures interpreting his legacy through various lenses. This prompts ongoing dialogue about historical memory, identity, and the narratives we pass down through generations. Vlad the Impaler's tale serves as a profound reminder of the fluid boundary between history and mythology. His story echoes across time, inviting us to reflect on the use and abuse of power and the endurance of legends born out of human history. In closing, we encourage viewers to grapple with the questions emerging from Vlad's life. Can we distinguish the man from the myth? How do we reconcile the dichotomy of hero and villain? As history enthusiasts, we continue exploring and questioning to better understand the legacy left by those who came before us.